All right.
Okay.
And then the second MOU, I think a lot of people think that there's been an MOU signed by the Sheriff's Office with
Yeah, I've
this
heard about that one.
287G.
Yeah.
So nothing has been signed yet. There is no documents. The only thing that we talked about was a letter of intent. So when the sheriff came to me, he was very interested in entering into this 287G program. That is a partnership with ICE, with our county. We would lead our, the whole Eastern Shore in doing so. There are 3 different models. One of them is task enforcement, where that's, our deputies partnering up with ICE and going out on the streets, and we don't want to do that. And the sheriff and I both agree that just wasn't the model that we wanted. He didn't want his deputies doing that, and I respected that decision. And then we have the JEM model, which is the jail enforcement model. That's what we originally looked at. We just don't have the staffing on either side, not at the jail and not with the sheriff's office to be able to do it. So the WSO, which is the warrant service officer model, seems to be the best. But all that press release said is the intent. So Sheriff Lewis did something 2 or 3 weeks ago on the intent of the JEM model. With us shifting gears, we wanted to put it right out in the community. We're no longer looking at JEM. We're now looking at this. But there has been no MOU signed.
So
none.
As of yet, Y Comical has not entered into agreement with
ICE at all. Nope. We've just shown intent, and this is what we're going to do. There's a lot of things that have to be worked out because our sheriff's office does not oversee the jail, and that is the way it is in a lot of places. So there are some hiccups that have to be worked out if we were to move forward. And it's just like I told the people at GSC today, we may not even do this. It might not even be feasible the way things are in the county. So we have not signed anything. We have just shown intent. We are still having very preliminary conversations as to what this looks like and how we can do this, if we can do this in Wicomico County. So I think, like I said, it's kind of a... I think, it's a shell shock when people hear it, like ICE, but, the sheriff is very adamant about this. And he said the law is the law, and so this model in particular focuses on people that not just that are illegal immigrant, but also that have broken other laws in the county. So if they have gone through our correctional system and, they are wreaking havoc on the community, then that would be something that ICE would look at. So just to give you some details or some data, since January 1st, 2022, we've had 2,456 people of not American descent through our jail system. That's a lot. That's 55 a month.
Wow.
And I will tell you, only 80 people were even on ICE's radar. Now, does that mean every single one of them were illegal? No, they could have been, on green card or visa or something like that. But when you hear those numbers, that's really astonishing. And I think the sheriff, I don't want to speak for him, but he very much feels that he owes public safety to this community. And while you have some naysayers, you have a lot of people that are in support of this. And what people I don't want anybody to forget, ICE is a federal agency.
They
can come in here at any point in time. They could come in right now. I mean, there's nothing we can do. A lot of times when you partner with them, and what we've seen, especially in this 287G, is that you put the guardrails on the county and you say, you may come in here, but the way that we're doing it is all through our jail system. We're not picking people off of the street. We're not doing that. If you are a productive member of society, you have a job, or you're raising a family, you have kids in school, those are not the people we're after. We're after people who are breaking our laws and hurting our citizens.
Thank you. So ICE, like you said, is a federal thing. So how many counties in Maryland actually is going against what federal is saying with ICE?
I will tell you, we have 2 counties thus far that are doing the JEM model, but their sheriff oversees it.
Sure.
And you have the AG, so the Attorney General has come out with his opinion. With the 287G, it does put a layer of protection on the county, so there's, it's hard to do the lawsuits and things like that. But again, we have a lot of things to work out.
Sure.
You have people jumping to conclusions, but if we kept things under wraps, then we would get, people say, oh, you're hiding things. Yeah. And the other thing I also want to dispel is, I think it was said that this was going to cost the county a bunch of money.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah.
It is not. It is budget neutral. So in the WSO model, our deputies are serving warrants and our COs are managing the jail, which is exactly what they do now. So it is a completely budget neutral thing. The one good thing is that there will be 8 hours of training, and training is always a good thing. So we will have officers getting that training. We will also have some COs getting training, but it is budget neutral. It doesn't cost us anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Now, I want to ask another thing, since we are talking about things that have something to do with the state or federal.
Sure.
it's been said that you're in cahoots in ways with Jake Day, and he's backing your reelection. Is this true?
Not that I know of. I don't. Jake has never told me that, so I don't really think so. I did hear that too. That somehow there's this big conspiracy that they put a candidate up against me, and they did it on purpose to make sure that I got reelected. Honestly, I would just rather them not put any candidate up. So if you're going to walk me in, like walk me in without me having to spend any money, that would be great. So, but that's not the case at all. I think. Nobody else has filed yet, so I really don't even want to say that I have an opponent, but the one person that has talked about it, she kind of made her statement, and she's doing her thing the way that she wants to do it. I just do things a little bit differently. But I think if you got her in here, she would say that she's not put in here as some, distraction candidate or whatever just to walk me in. I really don't think that she would appreciate that either. So.
Well, I find it actually interesting because my wife and I were actually doing a Praise in the Park when she actually announced during a No Kings rally that she was running, and that's something that's totally opposite of what you stand for.
Yeah, exactly. She is very much anti a lot of things that I am pro, and I think vice versa. So it is definitely two very distinct candidates.
Okay.
And I'm kind of waiting to see who files. I mean, right now I say I'm running unopposed because I don't have anybody. People can say they're running, they can do this, they can do that. There's a lot of things that go into running a campaign besides, treasurer and all of the logistics in that aspect. There's a lot. There's, financials and things like that that have to be brought forward. So there's a lot of things that kind of come with that. So, and there's some people that just aren't willing to do that. So.
Well, I've actually talked to some people who said that they've had other people try to encourage them to run for exec, and they're saying, not this, that's out of my league. So there's definitely a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I guess it's safe to say that you're not working along with Michelle Gregory. I'm gonna go ahead and put the name out there.
I'm not working with Michelle Gregory.
Even behind the scenes?
No. I mean, maybe they have something going on that I don't know about, but I am not aware of any sort of thing. And again, if they really want me to really be the executive, just don't have anybody run. That's what I'll say. So, if y'all are planning it, just don't run, and that way I don't have an opponent, and then I'm in. So we don't really need some sort of candidate being brought up. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
So let me ask you, why would someone make that accusation that you two were working together, and what would it be that they have against both of you that they wouldn't like either one of you?
David, I have no idea. I don't know why people do what they do. I feel like that there are, I always say this, there are just people who are labeled as disruptors, right?
Okay.
You have they can't, when the focus is not on them or pot stirring or whatever, the focus is not on them. They just disrupt. That's what they do. They just come in and they just say things off the wall, see what sticks, see what's gonna, what people are gonna, kind of carry on with and whatever else. But I have no idea why people do what they do. But I will say the good news is that it's a very small group. They're just a little loud and a little annoying, but it's very small. We have 104,000 people, and if I have 2 or 3 that are saying bad things about me, I think I'm doing all right.
All right. Well, actually, I want to say something about your possible opponent. As we look back at her record, at one point she was against the executive form of government. So don't you find it kind of unique that you now have an opponent that's for the executive's office that did not want one?
Yeah, I find it kind of funny too because I feel like there have been a couple people that have talked about running, but they wanted to try to vote for question A. But obviously that didn't work out, so we're still here. So now all of a sudden they're like, okay, well maybe the position isn't so bad. If it's going to stay, I'll run for it. But yeah, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I said, right now I am just focusing on me and my reelection and the campaign and trying to figure out, ways that we're going to be moving forward. And I'm just continuing doing the job. So, and that's just what's going to happen all the way through. So.
Okay. Thank you. I want to talk about council meetings now.
Okay.
Now, when the council meeting happens, I'm talking about the 6 o'clock one because obviously the one in the morning you're at work.
Right.
The one in the afternoon, are you actually in the building during that time?
Yes, I would say 95% of the time. I don't want to say 100% because I did go on vacation. I was in Bermuda for one of the council meetings. But yeah, I think a lot of people think that I just go home and just, the work happens, and that is not the case. So you've been in my office, but the way that it's set up is that we have my office and we have a conference room. We have a TV in there. So we put the council meeting on. All of my department heads that are there for the evening, they come and set their stuff in there. We kind of converse. They're sitting there working on things. And then when it's their turn to go over, they will go over and and present what they need to, or if they need to sit in on a session and really hear it without having any distraction, they go over and do it. But we are watching every bit of the council meeting comments and all, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, we sit there and we watch all of it. We take notes. We figure out how we're going to move forward with it. I just honestly am not going to put myself in a toxic environment for no reason. I'm there. I'm hearing, everything. So I'm not absent. I'm hearing everything, but I'm just not physically present in the actual council chambers. And that is a legislative session. When Congress is happening, if we take it to a federal level, do you think that the president goes into Congress every time they're meeting?
Not
he does
every
not
time.
at
No,
all.
no.
Not at all. He's busy running the country, which is what the executive branch should be doing. Same with the governor. When the legislative body is meeting and the General Assembly is doing their thing, the governor is hardly ever in there because he should be doing the governing of the county, the governing of the state. And that's the same way here. You have your legislative session. The legislative body is doing their thing, and I am the executive and I am running the county. So there are times where I need to be in there. There are times where, and whether I'm there or not, Bunky is always there. Our director of administration, Steve, has now come on board. He will be in there. So we have executive representation. I don't know why they're so obsessed with the fact like I need to physically be in there, but I will tell you, for my personal health and whatever else, until those meetings are under control and not necessarily a three-ring circus. I think the last time we had a gentleman use the F word at the podium. That's just inexcusable. And so I don't need to be around that. But if, there are things that are going on, we do hear what's happening. But sometimes our department heads need some refuge. They need a place to be able to work or, eat their dinner or, take a drink or, or whatever they're doing. If they're taking some water or if they're, talking to a family member on the phone, they need that place of refuge. And that's what that is. So they're constantly moving in and out, whenever they go in front of council. So.
And thank you for saying that. Now, of course, sometimes it gets heated. Sometimes there's people that say things that can be taken offensive. Is you being in your office versus in there, is that also a way of keeping it professional?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would think so too. I mean, believe me, this last time that there were some comments made, it took everything for me not to go in there and make public comment. But, I'm not going to do that because it's just a bait. You know what I mean? They're just baiting me to come out and do it. And at the end of the day, I think that the council, I won't say I'll never go back in there. If we, in the next election, if I'm reelected and we get a new council, I probably would start fresh if they wanted me in there. But if they don't, then that's okay too. So, we'll see. But yeah, you do want to keep it professional. And I am not going to be baited into acting foolish like some of the people that are in there. So.
And again, when I put on my minister's hat, I've noticed that that's been something that has been done. People would say things. I actually seen council people who say things that are hurtful towards you. And if you were in there, I'm pretty sure the human flesh wouldn't want to say something. So
right.
I can understand that. I can understand that. Okay, cool. So you're saying that is there any chance before the end of this council session that you would possibly go back in?
There are going to be some conversations that I will have to go back in for and be in front of them. So I have no problem doing that.
Got you.
And I think something else that was talked about, because we're talking about council, was that that is the only place where people can air their grievances and whatever else. And I don't have an open door policy and they can't come in. I will tell you that particular individual that said that. I work Monday through Friday, and people are in my office 8 to 5. At any point in time, you can make an appointment, you can schedule to come in, we can have a conversation. Do you want to know how many times that person has tried to come in and have a conversation? Zero times. So I think it's very unfair to say that I'm not available or that I'm not willing to listen or I'm not willing to hear this, that, or the other. That person literally has made zero attempt to come and have a conversation with me. If there's something that, that is truly bothering them and they feel that they need to come in and air those grievances, there are numerous people that come in my office. You come in my office.
I've been in there several
You know what
times.
I mean? So
Right.
Anytime people want to come in, and if they need to meet with particular department heads, that's okay. The only thing that we ask is to respect our schedule. We're very busy. I was in and out of the building all day today, so just make an appointment. That's all we ask. Am I sitting in my office all 8 hours of that day? No, not at all. So that's why we say make an appointment, and I would encourage this person to try. You know what I mean? If they're that interested in really coming in. So.
Okay. I want to talk about Wetumpka Creek. I was actually down, this place where I'm from, so I'm always got my eyes down there. But I was down there for a town hall they had about a month or so ago, and both Delegate Adams and Delegate Hutchinson did a great job of explaining it. And actually, I had some residents that were there that I actually asked the question, who did they speak to from the county? And that resident said, no, they talked to Mr. Graham, and he spoke directly to DNR. Mm-hmm. But yet, some of the critics still saying that your director of administration, since he worked for DNR, mm-hmm. was the contact person. Is that the case?
Bunky did not know. He found out the same time all of us did. This has actually been something that has been in the works for like over a decade. Mm-hmm. So Bunky wasn't working there over a decade ago. So he's only been in there since, the second part of Hogan's administration mm-hmm. that he worked for DNR. So we knew that it was a focus. It was not only a state focus, but it was also GSC in their 2030 plan to get a state park. So we knew the community.
I've seen that.
Yeah, we knew the community was wanting this. But this was just a way, again, for the disruptors, that's what I call them, the disruptors, to take something so simple. Mm-hmm. So, like, they've gotten the answer from numerous people. They got it from me. They got it from the state. They got it from Delegate Hutchinson, Delegate Adams. This is something that happened directly between the state and the property owner. Mm-hmm. The county had nothing to do with it. And they kept getting the same answer, and they just went to somebody else to try to get a different answer. And again, trying to make something that is so apolitical a political matter. And so I just, it is what it is. It doesn't matter how many times you ask. Mm-hmm. We did not know about it. Bunky did not know about it. This wasn't, that kind of stuff was not even on his radar at the time. This is something that has been in the works for a decade before he was even there.
Sure. So,
and again, this is between the state and the property owner.
Absolutely. That's what I've gotten from it. Actually, we have another town hall coming up where they're going to have the spotlight on DNR, but yeah, it still seems to be some naysayers that think that you had your hands in it somewhere.
Yeah, no. And a decade ago, I can tell you right now, I was teaching school, and I had nothing really to do with Wicomico County government or DNR. So,
okay.
So, yeah.
Well, before we go to our next segment, I do also want to ask about the landfill. And
sure.
How are we doing with that right now?
Yeah, right now, so we get another aerial, Adam Corey. We actually just hired a new superintendent, so he is going to be working beside Adam. Okay. And we are doing an aerial a little bit sooner. That's going to happen in November. And hopefully get some really good data. But right now, the trash has slowed down. It's amazing when you put people on notice and say, so that's a good thing. And we have Cell 7 almost at completion, 95% completed.
Nice.
So in the design phase. And then we will go ahead and start constructing. So we are right on schedule for May.
Okay. And I have noticed, because I do kind of cruise the back rural areas, that there's not any trash on the side of the road. So you said it's less trash coming in, and it's not littering the size of our beautiful county. So
yeah, that's a good thing.
Awesome. Sometimes people don't like change, but once they actually get into it, it's not as rough as they think it is. All right. Well, thank you. Now, this concludes our first part. We will come back and have some more questions from you from some other people.
All right.
Thank you again.
Sounds good. Thanks.